Yeah, so my learnings, I've had a lot of learnings already before Luke, and some really painful learnings. And maybe the biggest thing that if I would have to say one thing for future entrepreneurs, pick and choose your partners right. Uh, there are a lot of opportunities with different people, and it sounds really interesting, and millions are just hanging in front of you, but try to keep in mind that the team is super important and the people that you are relying on are super important. So that is one thing that I would like to highlight.
Three startup founders, three companies, all in different stages. Minna Patosalmi from Ferropower, who make decentralized units to burn waste to energy. Oskari Hervonen from quick payment solution provider Pikapay. And Roope Kekäläinen from business aviation company Lyg. This video is a part of a series called Startup Scoring that we are producing with Liquido VC. Liquido supports startups and startup founders on their journey from the beginning to the exit. I'm joined in the studio by Jussi Muurikainen, who will act as co-host for this conversation with three startup founders. Enjoy the conversation.
Welcome to Kalliomäki Podcast, exploring entrepreneurship, society, and well-being. Subscribe now to stay updated on our latest episodes.
Mä oon opiskellut tonne, että kuinka näyttää.
Niin. Tarkka. All right. Let's switch to English. This is Kalliomäki Podcast. Welcome everybody, especially our three founders. It's an honor to get you all to Kalliomäki Podcast. And we had a little warm-up session already with Jussi and Risto and Petri. But we'd like to move on directly to the founders theme now. And could you all tell us a little bit about yourself and your company? How did you end up to your company that you are in now, and where are you going right now? Just a little heads up to our audience who doesn't maybe know you yet. Could you start, Oskari, because you're right here in the studio with us. So could you go first?
Yeah, I can start. So my name is Oskari Hervonen. I'm currently working in a company called Pikapay. So how I ended up with that company, overall how I became an entrepreneur. So basically I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Like when I was 15, 16, I wanted to become an entrepreneur. And when I went to study in Lab University in Lappeenranta, I basically met the right people and just came along with the ideas. And I had this crazy idea back then. And just the basic reason is just because I met the right people in the right place. It was the right timing, and it was just the best decision to start a company.
And if I understood correctly, with your company's help, I can just bypass this huge queue in the Prisma and just go and use this to pay. I don't need the cash lady anymore.
Almost. So it's a funny story because that was the idea how we started with that idea, and we started in 2022 December, and that was the idea back then. But in last summer we had to make a pivoting because as a startup we want to work with the big corporations, and that was kind of hard job to do. So we just couldn't get in. So we had to do the pivoting, and right now what we do. So basically. We streamlined student ID processing. So basically, if you're a student, you can pay student fees straight to us. So we combine the student IDs and payment process in the same app, or the same platform. So that's what we do right now.
This is in the lunch restaurants, or?
Yeah, this is on lunch restaurant right now. So we work in Lappeenranta, Lahti, and Jyväskylä right now.
Wow, we need that in Jyväskylä Agora. I hate the line. Okay.
Yeah, but that's the reason sort of for him to be here
exactly
today.
Yes. So you're now in Jyväskylä because of another event, and we could schedule this to the same day. That's awesome.
Yes.
And let's move on to Minna. I've met you via Ferropower discussions earlier. So could you tell us, to our live audience and the people listening in YouTube and Spotify maybe in a couple of days, who you are and how you ended up in Ferropower?
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Minna Patosalmi, and I come from company Ferropower. Ferropower in Finland. We say it that way. So I'm acting there as a board member and also leader of our funding round. And Ferropower is a company from mother company Ferroplan, which is a conveyor leading company in Finland. And Ferropower is about energy and waste. So Ferropower is a 1 megawatt energy plant built in sea containers. In goes waste, and out comes cooling, heating, electricity, steam. So we make energy local, clean, and independent. So that's in a nutshell.
Wow, that's awesome. I know my technician is a huge prepper geek and preparation for all kinds of catastrophes. So I'm sure he's excited about your company because that actually relates a lot to all kinds of wars, pandemics, all kinds of situations where you suddenly lack this energy locally and you can get it. And maybe your trash also starts to pile up in those kind of situations. So,
I think at the moment in the world it's relevant
yeah.
to have those kind of
Absolutely.
solutions also.
Absolutely. All right, and we have Roope here from Lyg.com. So could you tell us a little bit about yourself and Lyg and how you ended up in Lyg?
Sure, and thank you for the invitation. My background is in aviation. I'm a commercial pilot by training and a flight instructor. I've been flying smaller business jets and larger airlines and been a flight instructor at the same time, but always been an entrepreneur since I graduated in 2014. Now, I founded my first company back in the days, 2014, a charter brokerage company that became the biggest in Finland. I sold it a few years ago. And during those times, I realized that regional air travel is really broken. I'm from Kuopio, which is in the middle east side of Finland, and realized that it's faster to drive a car than to hop into an aircraft, which was kind of an insane idea. And I started investigating and really fast realized that the problem is in the airports. It takes such a huge amount of time. And I realized that working with smaller asset classes, smaller airlines and aircrafts, we are able to serve with almost the same price point the business travelers. Now, I struggled quite a lot with the business idea and bumped into my co-founder, Jari-Jussi Viinikkala, who's an ex-banker from HSBC Bank, Wall Street, and London. And we started balling the idea. And we figured out that why should we solve today's problems, tomorrow's problems with today's solutions, and realize that digitalization is something that aviation is lacking. And through a lot of brain work, 2 years of time, we came out with Lyg, which is the world's first route and flight builder, meaning that we built new direct connections to areas that hadn't connections before. And in the near future, we are introducing the hybrid aircrafts into the market, which means that after 5 years, you're able to book a direct connection simply with 2 clicks wherever you want to wherever you want in regional travel space.
That's amazing. And I read a lot about sustainability from your website. So could you tell us a little bit more about that? How does sustainability combine with your business idea?
Yeah, so we built a model that supports lower critical masses of people and smaller places, which meant that we needed to make a model that works with smaller asset classes, smaller aircrafts. Now, as we did that, we realized that the new innovations that are coming into the market are under 8-seater, under 19-seaters, and we have a platform ready and a business ready for them. There is not another player in the world that can support those new innovations with such an excessive amount of flight hours. So realizing that, we started to focus on the future and looking into technologies, and we signed an over $1 billion deal last year with an US-based Electra Aero, providing 14-seater hybrid aircrafts, and they're about to be introduced into the market after 2028. And at the same time, we want to do everything possible today, and of course, direct connection is the best way to go if we look at the CO2 perspective. And on top of that, we have the sustainable aviation fuel that is available already today. And we have committed to use the sustainable aviation fuel up to 100% by the end of this year in all of our flight routes, which actually drops the CO2 per passenger up to 90%. And now when we do this, it's actually better to fly back and forth during the day than to stay in a hotel, because the CO2 impact is less than a hotel night.
That's a very concrete example, really solidifies the impact in my mind. I want to give a little message to our audience, because we have a live audience, LinkedIn live members there, and a lot of them may be pondering about maybe founding a startup, or maybe some of them already are founders. So to our live audience, please, if you have any questions in mind, we have 3 awesome startups here and 3 awesome founders. So ask whatever you want about what's going in the founder's mind and social structure, anything. How does it feel to be a founder? Ask anything you like, and our technician will follow it up to us and relay it here, and we can just queue that up as the next question. We don't have a huge structure that we want to ask 100 questions and take nothing from the audience. It's a raw live conversation.
But I want to ask one question right from the start. So, because founding a startup, it's like being alone in the first stage. You don't have any people to support you, basically. Your family is maybe even saying that, no, don't do that. That's at least my personal experience about my first startup. But how was it as a process, and what are the key learnings, and what are the sort of things that you have changed your thinking about it after this experience of being being a founder? And I would like to ask from Roope, because Roope's company is actually the sort of in the states that the others are still trying to reach, I would say.
Yeah, so my learnings, I've had a lot of learnings already before Luke, and some really painful learnings. And maybe the biggest thing that if I would have to say one thing for future entrepreneurs, pick and choose your partners right. There are a lot of opportunities with different people, and it sounds really interesting, and millions are just hanging in front of you, but try to keep in mind that the team is super important, and the people that you are relying on are super important. So that is one thing that I would like to highlight.
Awesome. We have our first audience question here from Aaron Medina. How did you approach the US market? So have any of you approached the US market? And if so, how did you do it?
No, we haven't. We haven't yet.
No.
Well, we have approached it for the production side, so for the new innovations. And it hasn't been, it has kind of come in its own phase. There hasn't been any strategy behind it. People have got interested in our companies, and we have started dialogues. And through these dialogues, we have found the actual persons responsible for the new innovations, and that's the way we have been going into the US market. Of course, the future brings possibilities for our model in US, and we're planning to be there after 3 to 4 years, but that is still kind of on the pipeline, so nothing concrete on that side.
But I would like to ask the same question to Minna and Oskari as well. So Minna, could you answer to my first question?
Yeah.
About
sure.
your key learnings from being a founder?
Yeah, everything that I know right now about funding, I have learned within this case by doing this funding round. So I didn't know anything when we started. So I think this is the case for the founders. And that's why it's really important, like Roope said, have the right partners. When it comes to, trying to find the funding or whatever it is. So it's a really important thing. You don't need to know everything. You just need to have the right partners. And the team is so important, because there comes so many days that you are losing the hope that there is always like that one person then who will bring that hope back and give it back to you, and then another day it's another person, so we are making a positive mindset for each other from day to day. So I think that's the top thing on my mind right now.
This is a bit like a joke, but I want to say that I have sometimes said this, that my most relevant role is to do this. Everything is fine. Everything will go just fine. Do you remember Roope, me, for instance, in the starting phase of having investors in the meetings and these silly guys selling the idea, and they are just like, nowadays they are mostly like asking that, oh, Jussi, actually, I should have invested in Lyk. I'm sorry that I didn't do so. So that's when I'm saying like, okay, we have next cases. Answer just my calls. and so on. But we are sort of in this kind of a situation with Roope and other founders that we have supported from the start. But it's about mental stuff as well. We are humans. We have moments when we need support. It's more like mental support instead of just knowing the right words for funding rounds.
Exactly.
And understanding the investors.
It's in my opinion, entrepreneurship is a lot about your mental and about cash, and those two are also very much combined. So that's what I've noticed.
But hey, for Oscar, the same question.
One more, one little technical detail to Minna and Roope. When you're not actively speaking, could you use M button? Oscar.
Same question.
Sorry.
Yeah,
No,
so,
it's okay.
Yeah, so I totally agree with Minna and Roope with the team stuff. So, but to me, I think because this is my first company, I'm first-time founder, so everything is learning process. I'm trying to learn everything. If I think about who I am right now and who I was like 16 months ago, 18 months ago, it's two different persons. Because this is funny thing, but I'm always saying that I think I have learned more in past 18 months than I have learned ever in the school. I have been in schools in 20 years. So I cannot just bring it 1 point up, but like I said, I totally agree with team part, and I think it's just the founding team, but also the partners who you're gonna work with, or the advisor team who you're gonna work with. Those are one of the most important thing to have, because without the network, I don't think you have basically anything.
Hey, I found a good reason to sort of combine the first guests that we had. They were talking about the funding and VC world view on startups. And what was one of the key things was that can they evaluate that the founders have the ability to learn and learn fast and be coachable. And now we have 3 founders that all of them have this quality. And this is like for Liquido's own scoring, one of the key elements. So if you're sort of lacking the sort of flexibility to listen, you cannot succeed. But at the same time, there's the other angle. I have been, Roope, actually talking about you many times with, as an example, that you also have to have a strong vision and ambitious mind. And this combination of like flexibility and ambitious mind is sometimes a bit rare thing, but these 3 represent it really well.
Yeah, the entrepreneurial mindset is not for everybody, and it takes its toll, but that's a really interesting combination. Flexibility and ambition both can be pretty rare as a combination.
As a combination, sure. Yeah.
So if I can add one thing, when we started, I think that I didn't know that it's gonna take this much time. So I think if I need to point something out, I learned that to find a startup and to work in a startup, it's take a lot of time, and it's basically working 80 to 100 hours a week. So that's what I learned. It's taking a lot of time. I think that I knew it, but I didn't know it. I didn't know what was the meaning of hard work. I think that's what I learned.
We have a next audience question. Did you have a vision on what kind of company you wanted to build in terms of company culture when you started out?
I had. We wanted to build it young, innovative, ambition, basically those kind of stuff. Because when we started, we all were the students, so and we still are. So in paper, but so I think I'm always trying to have that young and ambition culture in the company, and I don't want to have like I don't want to make my startup as a corporation stuff. So it's always need to be young and ambition.
So these are Lappeenranta students that you already knew, or did you come across them?
Yeah. So when I met my co-founders, so first one I met Teemu in a student party in a hot tube. So the story was I was there sitting at the hot tube, and Teemu came there, and I was trying to pitch him the idea what I had, like 3 hours, and he didn't buy it at the point straight away, but a couple of weeks after that he was okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. And Juuso, I met him at this. It's like an idea acceleration program. Was held in Lappeenranta back in 2022. So I met him there. He had his own idea, but I pitched this to him, and he said, "Okay, yeah, let's do that." He did his own idea and hop into my idea basically, and then we had a founder team.
The same question from Minna. So, did you have a vision about the company culture when starting?
At first, we didn't have any vision of this kind of question, but we started to think about this question when we started to actually build the brand, and then we needed kind to also, choose what we want to be, how we want to be, and we decided we want to be really bold. We want to be different from other, technology companies and so on. So we started to actually think about this when we started to build the brand.
Yes, I think also because there was this like family business, and you started to sort of design of a startup and a large scaling business model and so on. So it was part of it. How about Roope? The same question.
Yeah, I actually had quite a clear vision of how I would like the culture to be seen and felt, and everything is kind of coming out of the fact that we are not here alone. We need a brilliant team to be successful, and we're as good as the poorest player in the team. So we need to create an environment that was supporting, and that kind of courage to fail. Because if you're not courage to fail and you're afraid to fail, then you're not taking 110% out of yourself. I come from the aviation world. We have a saying called just culture, which means that you are allowed to fail. And if you fail, you need to raise your hand, and nobody has any say on that. So nobody can fire you because of the failure you did. Because the fact is that if somebody fails and they're not doing it on purpose, it means that there's a problem in the organization. And usually, if we look at the steps back, it is the founder that is responsible for the mistakes. There's a lot of million different reasons why, but we also always need to look into the mirror and see why this mistake was happened. Was there not enough resources? Was there not enough support, education on the way, clear vision where we were going? And this has been a key in the company since the beginning. And now, as we're 15 people, I believe it's kind of starting to show, but it is hard because people are really, if they fail, it is really hard to raise the hand. It is really easy to say that, of course, yeah, I'll raise my hand and be honest. But when it comes to a situation that you really fail, raising your hand and saying it out loud is quite tough. So it is an ongoing process. It's going to be an ongoing process. And, a daily reminder from our side to our employees that, hey, you are allowed to fail and we will support you if you fail. And actually, it is not your fault at the end of the day.
Do you think it's part of your industry? Because in aviation, if you do the critical mistakes, then you basically die. So it's a learning curve from the whole industry that let's raise the hand if we have a problem in the aircraft or something.
Because the worst case, in my opinion, would be that there are some things that should be brought up to the management, but people are scared to bring it up. That would be the worst case, because we're steering this ship towards the vision, and if we are not knowing what the market is saying or what's happening and what problems are underneath, it is impossible. It is driving the car blind.
Okay, then I would like to ask, because we are talking a lot from the investor side about the scoring of startups and so on, how to evaluate them. And I know, because I used to be a first-time founder also like 70 years ago. It was a bit difficult because it was like a totally different world of investors, their thinking and so on. So one question round for all of you guys: what are the top 3 learnings that you didn't just know about the investors' mental state or state of mind or whatever, and that you have learned now only by being a founder of a startup? And once again, I'm sorry to ask Roope first, because you have seen those investors that many times.
I don't know if I can be truly honest here, but I'll try to be nice.
It's only the 5 of us here. So.
Well, the surprise that I learned, especially in early stages, was that they're doing their decisions purely on the feeling. Of course, you need the bricks and everything in place, but at the end of the day, it is a pure feeling of how good the team is. And that's obvious because, what does a startup have? It has an idea and it has the team, nothing else. So it is quite emotion driven, the decisions that the investors actually make. And that was a surprise for me, because I thought that if everything is in place and all the Excels are in good shape and they're done really good, it's enough. But it definitely is not enough. You need to win the investors on your side as an individual. And the only way to do it is to be yourself. And sometimes it works, and in 500 out of 501 it doesn't work, and it's fine. You're still a good guy. At least that's something that I say myself.
That's so true. So we had this example before that it was yesterday. We went through the deal flow of Liquido, and there was one company that got really high scoring in the sort of Excel scoring, and we decided not to go on with that because of intuition. So once again, it's about intuition, and many times it's about the team itself. I remember Roope very well. Of course, I remember all of you 3 here, because I selected you to be invited here. Thanks about being here. You were the only ones that I asked the first. Seeing Roope during those days, they had these great Excels, 2 guys, and a bit poor PowerPoint presentation. But the spirit and passion and ambitious mind of Roope was the thing that we started to help them. But Minna, same question.
Yeah, what surprised me most is that the investors are humans too. So I was really surprised about the friendliness that was there, because I had this vision about the investors that they're really scary and rude and everything. But I'm really surprised of the friendliness and the really positive feedback that we have come across with our deck and our pitching or whatever. We have so many positive feedback. I can't believe. So this is a really a nice positive surprise for me. And one thing that I have learned is that how much we need to contact those investors so much that it seems to me like a really rude already. So you are contacting again and again and again, but that's the rule of this game. So this is like a big lesson for me.
Thanks. But now I want to ask Roope, do you know, remember any numbers of the figures of the meetings in the first round?
328 meetings
Yeah.
in the first phase and securing 650,000 of funding.
Yeah.
But that was an angel round, and that was tough. And that was thanks to Liquido, the network, that we had such many good investor meetings on that side. But one thing I want to express here is after the first, it's kind of a critical phase to get the first funding. Then I would encourage everybody to build a network around you with good investors and go through them, because we have seen that it is actually, there is no kind of outcome of just directly connecting cold calls, especially for international investors. It is, all the funding has come through somebody who has said that, hey, this is a good thing, because they are humans, as Minna said. They need the right mindset to really take into the business model, especially if your business model is a little bit complex and it's not, easy to say with one word what you are. It really needs their focus and their enthusiasm to really dig in.
Excellent content, I would say, here.
Yeah.
Oskari.
Yeah, so I think I haven't raced that much yet. So I have raced one round. I have experience of that, but that's why I haven't faced those basically surprised yet. So I was thinking like what I was gonna say. So I think a couple of things what I have been surprised or / learned is that the first is how much time it takes. Like and there was like this problem because when we first raised the funding, it was super fast. Like we raised super fast, and that gave me the idea of that. Okay, this is the racing, so I can race, and next time I can also race super fast. And that wasn't the case. And I learned it through Jussi. It's gonna take time, and I think the one thing also what I learned is that like Minna said that they are humans, but maybe like that. But like I think if you want to know something, you can call and they will answer the question. That because I was thinking like always that yeah they are not willing to answer, or they will not answer to your questions. They don't have time for that. So I learned that basically they are humans. You can call and they will answer on most of the times. Yeah, I think like this.
How about then, if you would like to say some words to the guy or you like 3 years ago about what to avoid, or 5 years ago, what to avoid when founding a startup company, what would be them? So sort of the mistakes done so far and key learnings from them. And let's start from Oskari this time.
5 years ago, I was 18. I would say, I don't know, maybe like, okay, I was thinking like the overall, I would tell myself that first of all, have a clear vision, because when we first started, we had it, I think we had it, but we didn't have it for real. So that's the first thing, we need to have a clear vision. And then a team part also. So we had a great founding team, but we didn't have advisors or mentors. And part of the reason was that because we didn't know what questions we should ask. But I would say I would advise myself that you need to learn as much as possible to the industry that you are going into before you start a startup or before you start a company, because it's much more easier if you know the questions what questions you should ask to get answers to those. So if you don't know the questions, it's kind of hard to move forward.
And how would you learn? What methods would you use? Do you go to YouTube or podcasts or buy a book?
Yeah, this is ironic because I would say to start a startup because it's the best way to learn. But I would say it's just to talk to people, like just find an advisor. Like I said earlier, that people are willing to answer the questions if you can ask those. So just talk to people who are in the position that you want to be in, or who is working in the industry that you want to work in, or you want to start a startup in the industry. So basically find those people first and talk with them. And also like I have a couple of employees, and I always say to them that if they want to find the startups, they should work with the startup first. First work with the founders so they can see what kind of work that is, and then ask the question, do you want to work like that, or do you want to do something else? So talk to founders, talk to advisors, talk to someone, and learn from that.
Great answer.
And when you work with the startup founder, you can see their work week.
Yeah. So that's the biggest reason. Like last time I said that, the one guy said that he wanna be a startup founder. I said, okay, that's great, but come to work to me, come see what I do, we do as a team, and then tell me, do you wanna be a startup founder? Because if you are not ready to work that, like I said earlier, that 100 hours a week, your company is basically not going to be successful. And it even like 100 hours of work doesn't guarantee to be successful, but that's the minimum what trying to be successful will lead you.
How about Minna?
Yeah, I have like two things. First is that I wanted to tell myself 3 years ago, start funding early enough. So not that at that point when it's, if you are trying to feel like, oh, it's a little bit like now we need to do this or anything, but start early enough, all the funding round. And the next thing is that just do it. Don't think too much. That's it.
Yes, that's actually a really good advice, because it's so normal for us that we get these calls from the founders that call like, hey, we would need some money 3 months from here. And then it's like, okay, the reality is that even with the best professionals, it doesn't go like that. It takes the time you need, and you never know it before you know. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes less, but it's never like an easy game. And this is something that I can really say after these 550 plus rounds that I've been running successfully, actually all of them in my past, but successfully not regarding the timetable. That, for instance, Lyg, I don't remember, but we also exceeded the time, like it didn't go like planned. It took more time, but it's all about like then it's about, do you quit or not? You don't, then you succeed. So that's all about the entrepreneurship, is that if you quit, you lose. But if you don't quit, you don't lose. But sometimes it takes more time. But Roope, same question.
I think I need to be on the exact same track as Minna. Starting fundraising early enough is really important. That is maybe a mistake that we have done, and all the same reasons for that. And you just need to do it, as Minna said, you just need to do it. It's just doing, contacting, meeting people. And of course, you need to have the strategy behind. How can I leverage from this investor? Okay, he's not interested, but he likes us. He's definitely going to help us. Because investors, as Minna said, are human beings, and they are willing to help. And that is a nice thing that global investors as well are willing to help. Avoid talking to the lower level people in the organizations. Go directly to the partner. That's, I think, the way to go. Now, if I don't have to talk about mistakes that we have done, but maybe successes that we have done, is pivoting. Don't fall in love with your company too much and your kind of vision and idea. If the market says go left, you need to go left. But of course, do it with emphasis and a good kind of planning before. But every one of us needs to pivot. And it is not a mistake that you have done. It is actually the thing that we startup founders need to be really agile and ready to pivot as soon as needed. And then taking risks. Take the risks on the right time. You don't need to take risks all the time. Of course, startup is a risky environment, but take the risk when you feel that it's the only way and the right kind of thing to do. We have really avoided risks, big risk taking. We have always mitigated risks, and we have we haven't been ever all in. We have always had the plan B. But I know that there is going to be a stage, and I think every startup has a stage that you just need to put all in and take the risk, but do it wisely.
We have a couple audience questions, and we are really running out of time soon, but we actually have 4 minutes or so to the schedule left. Jussi, I think we have a couple questions here from Klaus Juhantalo on LinkedIn Live, and which one would we tackle? We have maybe time to tackle one of those.
I would select the first one. Well,
All
what
right.
value and help can investors bring besides money?
That's
And,
interesting.
I think this is better to say to Rob, I would say, with the most experience about investors and working with them.
Yeah, one thing that we have really been successful is with the preliminary strategy of building the company through investors, actually, and that was something that Jussi and Liquido was of great help in the early stages. So we got first investors in that became advisors, all of them. Nobody could get into the company without investing because we wanted to see that they really have a skin in the game. And through this, we were 2 founders and 8 advisors, super professionals from Finland, helping us. So we had a really big know-how with 0 cost to the company. So that is one way of leveraging the early stage angels. Pick them right if you're able. I'm saying in this current environment, getting funding is extremely difficult. Getting the right investors is hard, but if you have the ability to get the situation that you can pick and choose the best investors that could help you in that phase. Now then we evolve and go forward, then we need different kind of investors. Our second round, we brought in bigger angel investors. Now the caveat with them was the connectivity that we needed for the next rounds and for the actual market here and there. Now we're in a phase that we have our first VC investor, and what we are hoping from the VC investor is connectivity to the next Series A round. And I think that it is heavily, at this stage, dependent on the actual network that the VCs have. And for the next VC, we of course look that it should be something more than just connectivity. We hope that they are able to fund us for the next upcoming rounds so that we can focus on other things. And the focus is on market and getting even better board professionals and experienced people on board the company. So it depends on the lifeline of your startup.
Yeah,
I
but
would say.
this is I have waited to say this. It's not about us bringing the best smart money and advisors and investors. That's not enough. But I have been giving this example for so many times, Robert, you don't even know it. But I have said the example that, hey, you guys really use those advisors and investors instead of just waiting them to call you and be active with you and so on. You really used the network that you built. And that's so relevant part of the founder's point of view. That if you have the best advice in the market, but you don't use them, then you don't understand the game at all. So they are not faces in the PowerPoint presentation. They are people that you call like every day. I said this to Oscar actually. He has really been calling. So he has learned this already.
That's good. So, founders, don't stay alone in your company, in your room. Pick up the phone, go knock on the door. It's a team effort. Life is about people. Let's do this together. This is my message today for all the founders and will-be founders listening. YouTube, Spotify, on LinkedIn Live. We are running out of time. Please give us some final remarks, some final blogs for your website or where to follow your journey or
how to invest in
how to invest in your company.
To us, go follow our social media. It's basically Pick Up A everywhere. And to invest us or to connect us, please call straight to me. and my email is oskari.pikape.fi.
Oskari.pikape at pikape.fi. Yes.
How about Minna?
Yes, please visit our webpage, ferropower.fi, and of course, contact me anytime via LinkedIn or email, whatever, minna.patosalmi@ferropower.fi. So that's the way.
Awesome.
Roope.
Good.
Final words.
Our website, luke.com, you can get more information, and also following our LinkedIn page. We're quite active over there, informing quite a lot through that channel. And of course, any investment inquiries or questions, please feel free to contact me via LinkedIn or then roope.kekalainen@luke.com.
Awesome. And Aaron Madida saying thank you for your time all. I hope you accept connection requests on LinkedIn. Please share your stories constantly. So I hope you all do that. Thank you very much, everybody. Oskari, Minna, Roope, and Jussi, of course, we're going to chat a little bit more. So everybody stay tuned. And thank you, everybody, for joining this podcast, and thank you to the awesome LinkedIn live audience. So we're gonna take a 5-minute break here with Jussi, and we'll be back soon. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.